Welcome, everybody. It is the Human to Mars Summit 2020 coming to you virtually. And I am so happy and eager to introduce our next guest. But first, I want to show you what she and her team are doing down in Austin, Texas.
I believe that humanity's destiny is in the stars.
And with this asteroid as a counterweight, we can rotate enough to generate Earth-like gravity.
Which one of you is going to be a space engineer?
I didn't want to.
All of you want to be an engineer?
Yes, they are glowing because there are stars forming here.
Seeing what different planets are up in that sky, in that amazing, beautiful place, just right up there.
We want our students to have direct engagement with leaders in the aerospace, STEM, and STEAM fields.
You are the one who will transform Mars.
Now you, go out there in that world. Go build something amazing.
Holly Melear, my dear friend, exquisite educator, and someone who is really changing the lives of kids and getting them interested in STEAM. Tell us more about Cities in Space and STEAMSPACE, my friend.
Thank you for having me. We are super excited about this year, despite all of the strange turns of events in the world with COVID. We really decided to take quite the silver lining of this, and getting to have a virtual conference this year enables us to really get to reach even more kids than we've been able to in the past. This will be our 6th annual Cities in Space student competition and conference coming up in February.
Talk to me a little bit about the genesis and that moment that you said, I think I'll start this, and then share with everyone how many kids you've served to date.
A little bit about me. I grew up in what I like to call a very STEAMy family. I came from artists, mathematicians, astronomers, musicians. So for me, the STEAM, the arts part of STEM has always gone very naturally with me. And one thing my entire family always loved was space. And that has never changed. And so throughout my career as a teacher, doing events, all sorts of things, I never quit looking up at the stars. And in 2011, when the shuttle system closed down, we all felt a pang in our heart. And, it was the end of an era. And at the same time, we were watching all of this emerging commercial industry happening. And it was really exciting watching a shift in thinking and a new form of collaboration to push towards space. And I would say in 2015, very beginning of 2015, I was teaching full-time and in Austin, Texas, and I came home and my family had the news on, and on the news, they were interviewing a CEO of an aerospace company who had moved to Austin. And I looked at my family and I said, that's what I want to do. I want to help make space settlers. We need to prepare these kids because we are moving faster than ever now, than we ever have, fast. And then just one thing led to the other. I was very fortunate to get to jump on with New Worlds Conference and start the first Cities in Space competition. And we didn't have a lot of time to plan. And so I told them, I was like, well, we'll probably get about 75 kids. And I had been doing events in the arts and music and all different things for many, many years. And as I began to watch the adult conference take form, and they had exhibitors and speakers and all sorts of amazing things, I started saying, well, I want the kids coming to compete on space settlement design to also be listening to speakers. And I want them to get to have hands-on makers and look at drones and coding and all these amazing things that we can show them, and really have full-on industry engagement, as well as compete for off-world settlement design. Because in the competition, we have two choices. We have off-world settlement design. They can choose to build a colony through video or actually through 3D construction, and their colony needs to be able to hold 1,500 people, but with the capacity to grow. And they can choose between Mars, I know you like that, the moon, or free space. And then we also have an emerging technology category, which happened a little later in Cities in Space. And that's where children can focus on, you know, building rovers or look at asteroid mining or really dive into space agriculture. And I really wanted the children to have a progressive education experience. So they could really look at those collaboration skills. They could really embrace challenges and really get some of the experience for being leaders. And they also could choose what they wanted to present on, even though they all had the same requirements for the project. So when students came into the room, they would see all of their other peers from all over the United States and sometimes from international teams, and maybe they're only focusing on engineering, or maybe they are only focusing on, you know, gardens. But then they'll listen to other teams who might be focused on law, or how do we preserve and create new ideology? How do we have music and art? You know, how do we continue mental health? How do we propagate diversity and have a low footprint? All these things. So they really get to see the full picture of what it takes to have a thriving community. So back to the story saying that we would only probably have 75 students. This was in March of 2015. So about a month into it, we had about 100. Then we had 250. And at 500, the venue was yelling at us to shut it down. And it's been like that ever since. Now we have reached over 3,000 students aged 4th grade to 12th grade.
And I was there for that very inaugural 2015. I got a chance to speak to these amazing students. I never will forget one group, I think they were probably about in 5th grade, had created their habitat in Minecraft, and I was blown away by the ingenuity of what they were doing. So congratulations on really giving this to so many students. Share with everybody, I think your statistics are phenomenal, especially in light of gender and the pipeline that I believe you're creating.
Well, thank you. Yes, since we began, we've had a very, very strong mission to create an all-inclusive community. We want to create a movement of youth that's pushing towards space. And we really want with that to cross all boundaries. We want to be able to incorporate all gender, all ethnicity, all religious and ideology backgrounds. And we also want to incorporate children with learning differences. But we have been shocked, thrilled, and blown away that year after year we have averaged 65 to 67% girls in attendance, and a high percentage of ethnic diversity in each team. We also really believe in having an equal opportunity competition economically wise. So we cap all of the team's spending capabilities. They're not allowed to go over a certain amount. And if they need assistance, we give it to them.
So truly profound, the reach that you've had. And it's interesting, it sounds like each year you've added a bit more, fine-tuned something, you probably learned something along the way. And so what has your experience in the spring of being an educator and having to flip everything virtual, what are you taking into this scenario this fall and spring in preparation for Cities in Space?
Having been a teacher for 20 years in my life, I have really grown to strongly believe that students should help lead the way for curriculum and plans for their learning. So at the end of every conference, our team sends out a survey and says, what did you love and what can we do better? What did you like us not to do next year? And our teams are lovely. They're very kind always, and they're very forthcoming. So we are always evolving. And things really changed quite a bit in 2018 when we decided to go international. That really began changing up a lot of things and helping us to become even more technological. We're going to be having a half-day streaming event, and we're hoping to be able to have some opportunities for students to get to have some good question and answers and maybe have some good interactions in some ways with each other, because that's one thing we really love about Cities in Space is that students get to find each other. And so whether that is going to be through writing letters to speakers and to other teams through our website, will probably enable that to happen. But also every year since Cities in Space began, teachers contact us and say, we're working on this. Can we be connected to another school who's interested in the same things? And so we really believe in connecting schools together so they already start their community before they even come to Cities in Space. And we are partnering with SLU, and SLU is a wonderful organization for astronomy. And so what they're going to do with us is they're going to allow our Cities in Space kids to all have free accounts for their research for Cities in Space. And then they will be hosting some fall star parties for us about Mars and about the moon. And then we will be having a big star party celebration the night of Cities in Space after the event is done. But we plan to have some fantastic speakers for the kids this year, including Explore Mars. We are so happy to be hosting you as speakers this year. So it should be a wonderful day. Registration will open in September, and we will begin to close down submissions with the team projects by mid-January, so our judges can have plenty of time to thoroughly review everyone's work before we have our streaming event. And then we will be announcing all of the winners at the end of the event on that day and show clips of each winning team's work.
So that is February 5th, 2021, correct?
That is February 5th, 2021.
Share with me as we close out and encourage everyone who might be listening, if you're a student, an educator, just somebody who's interested, maybe somebody in industry who would be willing to come and share as a subject matter expert to all your students. Tell me a couple of really moving, great stories that have emerged in the last 5 years where you know that what you're doing at Cities in Space has really made impact.
Oh, well, two things. Thank you for asking that. We had our first leadership summit in November of 2019. And that is where lead students from different schools for Cities in Space teams come, and they spend the day really brainstorming together, discussing their projects, and then meeting with lots of industry experts and having a lot of one-on-one and small group engagement to get feedback for it. Those leadership students have just blown me away. And several of them have been Cities in Space participants for 4 years, 5 years, and a couple of them are getting ready to go to college, and they have changed their trajectory in college because they have decided they want to go into aerospace because of their love of what they've found with their Cities in Space community and listening to these brilliant people and brilliant peers. So that has really warmed my heart because I see we're making positive change. One of the most endearing stories, though, I will say, and Janet, you're going to remember this student. The very first year of Cities in Space, I had a 6th grade student, so age 12. She decided to lead a team. And when she found out Janet Ivey was speaking at Cities in Space, she about lost her mind because she was starry, gaga-eyed. Oh my gosh. But she came up to me. I did a lot of preliminary work with her school, doing some video chats and brainstorming with them as we were all starting out and learning together in a lot of ways. And she said, Miss Melear, I just want to thank you because all my life, granted she's 12, all my life I've wanted to go to space. But I thought because I wasn't the greatest at math, there wasn't any hope for me. But you have shown me otherwise. And I know now that there is a career for me. And I want to be a counselor and someone who studies psychology that goes with early settlers to help them adapt and cope in new environments. Because you know we're going to need that, right? So it just warmed my heart. But that's what we really believe, and that's why we do believe in making it a progressive education competition, supporting project-based learning and social-emotional learning. So those kids who know they can really make a difference and be in space settlement and aerospace and do these studies, they can do it. They can go to college and go for career trajectories and make this happen.
Wow, I love that story. And I hope if you're listening, your heart is warmed as well. And it's a great reminder to industry. Just remember, if you are looking for young people, for workers, for engineers, for artists, for designers, for scientists to fill the STEM pipeline and potentially fulfill your future space dreams, if you want that workforce coming up behind you, part of the gift that you can give is by showing up and sharing your expertise and being willing to mentor some of these amazing kids that educators like Holly Melear are out there pointing them in the direction of aerospace and succeeding. Holly, I just want to say thank you. Again, we want to remind everybody, February 5th, 2021, where can they go? Give us the website and everything again so that they can find you.
You can just go to STEAMSPACE.org. Got to have the dash.
Keep doing what you're doing. It is making a difference. And one day they'll be writing you back from Mars saying, Miss Melear, we got here. We did it.
That's what I want. I want to get that little letter that says, we did it. I think I will.
I think you will too. Thank you so very much. Again, Holly Melear, STEAMSPACE.org. I'll post it right there. You'll see it on your screen. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. Have a great afternoon.